want to ask everyone to rename him or herself by adding the name of the institution or the country or the rec that you are representing. And also, please mute yourself if you are not talking for us to better coordinate the discussions. Thank you very much. Before starting, I'm just checking if we have all our speakers. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. We have our speakers. My name is Nadine Omotoni. I think you can hear me. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Nadine Omotoni. I'm from the ARSO, African Organization for Standardization. I'm in charge of monitoring and evaluation, but I also coordinate the Pan-African Quality Infrastructure Joint Committee Secretariat, which is hosted by ARSO. This one is to welcome you, everyone, to this event. It's a pleasure for us as ARSO, who is hosting this event, to welcome everyone, and also to let you know that today we are listening to interesting discussions on quality infrastructure, focusing more on the alignment of the regional and national quality policies to the adopted Africa quality policy. This seminar, for your information, was organized in the framework of cooperation between ARSO and UNIDO, but under the European Union ACP Quality Infrastructure Program, of which ARSO is a project partner. And that is why now today ARSO is hosting this important seminar. So we are today together with you all. I just recognize on behalf of the hosts, I recognize the representative of the African Union together with us, and representatives of the Ministries of Trade and Industry, Ministries of Agriculture, Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Ministries of Administrative Affairs, Ministries of Environment, and also other government institutions. We are also recognizing the representatives of the PACI institutions. This is AFRAC, AFRIMET, AFSEC, and ARSO. And we are also here with the Africa Quality Council members. Thank you for joining us. We recognize also the representatives of the economic community, the region economic communities, RECs, the representatives of the national economic community, the national accreditation bodies, national metrology institutions, and their related measurement and calibration laboratories. We are here together with national standard bodies. I have seen the CEOs, managing directors, and DGs of national standard bodies. You are most welcome. And we are together with national conformity assessment bodies and also other institutions related to conformity to quality infrastructure. Without delay, I just want to welcome the Secretary General of ARSO, and I think many of you already know him well, to just open our seminar. Dr. Mogen Sengimana, Secretary General of ARSO. Kindly.
Thank you, Nadine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. I know there are those who are attending from Southern America, my friends from Kroski, CARICOM. Uh, I see those attending from Germany, from Austria. Yeah, I want to greet you. Yeah. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank UNIDO for collaborating with us on this project on supporting equality and the regulatory framework within the Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific region. I think it's very, very important to mention that this is an important project because it touches on different value chain that have value for our continent, especially Africa, on what we are covering. Today, we will be having our speaker, Bia Budo, talking about the quality policy alignment to national quality policy. Also, African Organization for Standardization in 2022 reviewed its strategic plan. And one key issue that we are focusing on is a quality culture. Quality culture. If you look at the quality policy, African quality policy being discussed today, it was requested by the African Union through the Abuja Treaty in 1991. 1991. 30 years ago, 30 years after 1991, it's when the Africa Quality Policy was approved on 3rd September 2021 by Specialized Technical Committee for Trade and Industry of the African Union. You see, we took 30 years. We took 30 years to develop Africa Quality Policy. It's very important that we don't take other 30 years for the implementation of this quality policy. To do that, the only way to do that is to be able to align the Africa quality policy with national quality policy. I take this opportunity to thank those who contributed to the development of this Africa quality policy, especially the Africa Union Commission that's led the work with PACI, Pan-African Equality Infrastructure institutions, and also with the support, financial support of the PTB, German, and the Flexim Bank. I thank you for all the support that given to have this document. I would like to mention key issues. One part is that the quality culture should start from the beginning. Why am I saying the quality culture should start from the beginning? We shouldn't remember to use standards when our products are being taken from the shops and the shops are being closed. Before we start an industry, before we start manufacturing, we should think quality. By thinking quality, we will manage at the African level, increase the trade, especially intra-Africa trade, and increase the global trade. Because when you look at the standard, which is a mandate of also harmonization of standard and harmonization of the conformity assessment, the standards help us to connect to the market. If we use one standard as 55 countries, we will be able to trade to one another without requesting further tests, without requesting further certification. As the principle we know, that is our motto currently of having one standard, one test, one certificate accepted by the 55 countries. That is very important for us, trade among ourselves. Secondly, is about industrialization. At the Africa regional economical communities, we have different level of also harmonization. At the ARZO level, we have harmonization. At AFSEC, which is electrotechnical, we have harmonization of standard. This quality policy and other documents such as the AFCFTA agreement will help us also avoid duplication. Avoiding duplication, it's how we can help our industries. Our industries, products, raw materials from one region can move from one region to other region. Imagine if we have standard from ECOWAS, standard from EAC, standard from SADC, and we also know that some countries are in 3 or 4 regional economical communities. We should be able to understand that it is important that we think continental. We start thinking continental. It's not taking away our right. Actually, it's increasing our market to 1.4 billion people of the African continent. It's increasing our market for our own industries. At the ARZO level, we have standards that are helping SMEs to move through the value chain, to move through the supply chain, is what we call maturity model. When we are harmonizing the conformity assessment scheme, we are able to help an SME to be certified from bronze, silver, gold to platinum, looking at the different stages where you can be able to enter the value chain, different value chain. On this project, we are also dealing with a few value chain like palm oil, soya oil, that will be helping the SMEs to add value to what they are doing. In my closing, I would not want to close without talking about technical regulation. In this document of quality policy, there is a request of Africa Continental Technical Regulation Framework. The documents have been discussed. Different countries have been contributed to this Africa Continental Technical Regulation Framework. This will be a game changer on how we treat, especially we adopt the technical regulation or we put in place the technical regulations. We should be using one standard, either is international standard that exists. When they don't exist, you should use ARZO or AFSEC standards. And this needs a collaborative mechanism, institution framework. National Bureau of Standards should work closely with the regulators. We should work closely with the ministries in charge of putting on regulations. This is very, very important that we can move forward because technical regulation, conformity assessment are the only way that we can implement a standard, that we can apply the standard in the work that we are doing. We don't do this work for us just as Bureau of Standards. We do this work for our consumers. We do this work for our industry. I thank again UNIDO for this collaborative project. And I take this opportunity to thank also the European Union that is supporting this project. Thank you, and I declare this meeting open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, for giving us these interesting opening remarks. So we all, everyone has picked his own or her own word of the day. So there are so many keywords that we have to take from these remarks. So there are so many, that is what I picked is the maturity model. So everyone has his own. So please remember to note it down. So without any further delay, I just wish to tell you that today we have other speakers. Maybe let me just show you what we have as a short program of the day. Okay, sorry. Okay. Today we are having these personalities. We have Mr. Bernard Bo, who is the ACP Quality Infrastructure Program Manager at the UNIDO. And he's going to tell us briefly on the EU program that he's leading, the EU ACP Quality Infrastructure Program. After him, we have Ms. Rebecca Garaldo, who is giving us a short overview on the quality infrastructure for sustainable development. Is a quality tool. She will just give us a brief overview of this tool. And then we will have the presentations that will be delivered by Mr. Bia Budo, who is a consultant at the PTB, but Bia Budo, we will have to talk more about him when his time comes, because he's the person who had a big role in developing the initial draft of the quality, the Africa quality policy. So I can stop sharing and invite Mr. Bernard Bo to give us a synopsis of the EU ACPQI program. Thank you, Mr. Bernard Bo. Kindly take the floor.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Do you hear me? Good.
Yes, loud and clear.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And it's my pleasure to be with you today for this very important seminar. See that there are already 173 now participants, so it's very promising. I want to first, of course, thank my dear friend Hermogene for outstanding introduction to the webinar. I think there is no one better than Hermogene to educate people and on quality and standards and on the relevance of all what he has been doing for so many years now, and to really help African countries align to policies and standards and conformity assessment schemes, etc., to really make a full continental trade thrive. And yeah, I agree, we need to think continental, and it's the proper setup to have this. I want to start by saying, okay, my name is Bernard Bo. I'm from UNIDO headquarters. I'm in the Department of Division of SME, Competitiveness, Quality, and Job Creation. And I'm indeed the program manager of the ACP Quality Infrastructure Program that is sponsoring this event today. I want to thank ARSO for the very good relationship and partnership in this endeavor. I want to thank, of course, the European Union and the OACPS Secretariat for the funding efforts for this program. So dear participants, ladies, gentlemen, representatives from all walks of life in Africa, ministries, QI institutions, PACI, REX, and I think Nadine named all of them. Again, welcome, and thank you for your participation. I will not talk too much about the ACP QI program, which is an initiative covering 3 main regions of the world, meaning Africa, the Caribbean, and Pacific, to strengthen the quality infrastructure, quality and regulatory infrastructure, but also to strengthen quality infrastructure related services for specific value chains. And as a third pillar of the intervention is the quality culture promotion, which Hermogene touched upon a bit earlier. It's so important because all we do here is not only for the QI practitioners or policymakers, but it's in the end for every consumer in Africa, in Caribbean, and in Pacific. So the program is structured under these 3 main outputs. And in the framework of the first output here, we are indeed addressing the question of alignment of quality policies be there at regional level, at REX level, or at national level, alignment with the Africa quality policy. This is very important. As Amrogen mentioned, it took so many years to come up with a common African policy in terms of quality. And this is now there, and it is to be implemented. And we are proud as UNIDO to support this endeavor. For Africa, it will mainly, the assistance will mainly be about supporting the implementation of this policy, alignment and implementation, whereas in the Caribbean as well, to further develop the quality policy. And in the Pacific region, it will be to help them really develop this regional quality policy for the Pacific Islands. The present seminar will be much about building awareness on the AQP alignment, and then will be about training the trainers to support the countries align their national quality policies, and then we will support through ACP QI intervention as well some countries to align their existing policies. We at UNIDO have done quite substantive work in quality policy development, and so for so many years. And even myself was involved in the first development at regional level in West Africa, where we supported ECOWAS, first UEMOA countries, there's 8 French-speaking countries, then ECOWAS, to develop their quality policy at regional level. And we also supported the alignment to the ECOWAS quality policy of countries in that region. So this is where it started. Then UNIDO moved to even more upstream work on tool development or trilogy document, which Rebecca, my colleague, will say a few words immediately right after me. So thank you again very much, and thank you also Rola for helping us organizing, Nadine, Rola, and all the ARSO beautiful team. Thanks a lot, and I have here also my friend, good friend Bir Badou, who we'll see as a formidable trainer and speaker. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a fruitful session.
Thank you very much, Bernard Bo, for this introduction and brief introduction on the project. And I have known that now Africa has already a quality policy, an Africa quality policy, and we will be giving our experience in developing the Caribbean, the Pacific quality policies. I think this is a good project, and we hope that we will learn and we will get more as the project goes on. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to call upon Ms. Rebecca. Kindly take the floor and tell us more on the quality infrastructure sustainable development tool. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. It is my pleasure to be here with you today during this important seminar. I'll share my screen because I have prepared a small presentation for you today. So please let me know once you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Dear participants, as my colleague Bernard Bo has mentioned before, UNIDO has a long-standing history in supporting quality infrastructure development worldwide. In June 2017, together with the International Network on Quality Infrastructure, we came up with a definition of quality infrastructure that can set the foundation for the discussion today. And to put it in short, quality infrastructure is a system, and as a system, it covers aspects such as policy, but also institutions, service providers, firms, consumers and markets, and of course, the value-adding use of international standards and conformity assessment procedures. And this system is composed of institutions in charge of metrology, accreditation, conformity assessment, standardization, and market surveillance, as well as, of course, the related policies, the related regulatory framework, and the legal policies as well. So UNIDO is the largest multilateral player in quality infrastructure development, and we have more than 40 years of experience in this area. Our approach to quality infrastructure development is holistic. It is systemic, as I mentioned, and it's also demand-driven. And this means that we not only help countries to put in place quality infrastructure services and capacities, but we also make sure that those quality infrastructure services and capacities respond effectively to the actual needs of the private sector. And moreover, we stimulate the demand for those services by creating a culture of quality, as the Secretary General was mentioning before. So at the end of the day, the entire system is sustainable. As you can see, governance is at the core of the national quality infrastructure system. And the government has to lead the way in setting up the quality infrastructure system and ensuring that it meets the need of the country, that it complies with trade rules and conforms with international standards. And this is achieved inter alia through the regulatory framework and the national quality policy. So the national quality policy is the main instrument that any government has for establishing and overseeing the quality infrastructure system in the country. And there are three aspects that must be considered when designing a national quality policy. The first one is sustainability. We have to take into account the sustainability of the policy objectives. And to achieve this, it is crucial to take into account the country's realities and the market's demands. The second aspect is harmonization. And the national quality policy must be based on international good practices, so it can ultimately enable participation in inter-regional trade and global trade. This is something that I understand will be further elaborated during today's seminar. And finally, the national quality policy should not be designed in isolation. When we talk about alignment, we refer to the need to consider over government's policies and strategies. So UNIDO contributes to the good governance of quality infrastructure by supporting the definition of quality-related policies and good governance strategies. And to guide these efforts, we have developed and made available a series of guidelines and global tools, as you can see here, that allow developing countries to harvest intelligence to inform their decision-making processes. So as you can see, our toolkit includes, among others, the Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development Index, and I will elaborate this in a few minutes. The Standard Compliance Analytic Tool, for instance, also analyzes rejection data from different markets to help countries to identify what the bottlenecks for export are, so they can define priority areas and invest their usually limited resources in an efficient manner. And we also have other tools like the Quality Infrastructure for Trade Facilitation Toolkit that help to identify the gaps in the quality infrastructure system to support the implementation of the Trade Facilitation Agreement of the WTO. Also, UNIDO counts on a dedicated knowledge hub for knowledge creation and dissemination. And we also have a number of online trainings, including one specifically on quality policy, as you can see. They all can be taken for free at our knowledge hub. You have the link here at the bottom right of the slide. So I invite you to explore the almost 400 online resources that we have available there. To assist developing countries in creating a robust quality infrastructure, UNIDO, in collaboration with its technical partners of the INET-QI, has developed a set of 3 guiding documents, a trilogy. And this set of documents aims at supporting practitioners and policymakers to design robust, holistic, and demand-driven, as I mentioned before, quality infrastructure system. The 3 documents are based on our research and our normative principles, and basically capitalize on UNIDO experience in assisting developing countries to create an inclusive and sustainable quality infrastructure. Throughout our history, we have helped over 26 countries and 3 regional groups to devise viable quality policies. And this includes our work with the ECO region, with the ECOWAS region, and with the CEMAC region. And together with our partners, we help these countries and regions to complete the whole cycle of policy development. So from inception and strategic planning to design, to awareness raising, implementation, and finally monitoring. And it is drawing on that experience that UNIDO has developed this trilogy as a global public good to address the most common challenges encountered when developing and implementing quality policies. The quality policy guidelines is the guiding principle, is the first of this trilogy, and is basically a set of experience-based key principles. So it points out the key criteria that policymakers need to take into consideration to identify solutions that effectively facilitate the integration into markets. And each country, based on its own context and its own needs, can adapt these principles to create an effective quality policy. So the 5 dimensions that are displayed here have been arranged in a sequence starting with those that are more conceptual and aspirational, and concluding with those that are more relevant to the actual implementation and the subsequent operationalization of the national quality policy. The second of the documents is the quality policy, the technical guide, and it outlines the elements of a viable quality infrastructure system, such as the vision, the goals, objectives, outcomes, and measures. And it also stresses the government commitment as a prerequisite for success. It also explains how QP, how quality policies link to the various policies, and highlights the need for contextualization, as I mentioned before, including harmonization with regional and continental quality policies. It also encourages the participation of a broad base of stakeholders in the development of the policy to facilitate the implementation and the buy-in. And all in all, governments can use this document as a good practice reference when developing a quality policy. The last of the documents in this trilogy is the practical tool, which outlines the process, the actual process of quality policy development, offering a step-by-step approach. So it describes the 5 steps. So first we have to prepare the ground, which involve engaging good leadership, involving of relevant stakeholders, clarifying the objectives of the policy development, and preparing a plan to achieve those objectives. Then we need to conduct a strategic planning, define the priorities, and define the resources that are likely to be required. Then a draft of the policy should be prepared and circulated for feedback. Finally, lastly, the policy has to be incorporated as part of the overall policy landscape and formally published and adopted. And at the end, we have to implement, of course, and monitor and review the implementation of the quality policy. This implementation of this plan can either be a gradual adaptation of the system quality policy, or it might require a complete re-engineering of the quality infrastructure of the existing quality infrastructure system. And to that end, an implementation plan should be developed, including the associated implementation and oversight responsibilities, as well as I said, as a budget and priorities. Now I'll move to the second tool that is quite relevant when it comes to harvesting intelligence to inform the development of quality policies, and this is our Quality Infrastructure Sustainable Development Index. In June 2022, UNIDO, again in cooperation with the INET-QI, launched this index, and the index basically measures the readiness and the contribution of quality infrastructure to sustainable development. And it measures the overall readiness of the system to contribute to it. So it covers the 5 dimensions of quality infrastructure: accreditation, standardization, metrology, conformity assessment, and policy, as well as the 3 Ps of the sustainable development: people, planet, and prosperity. And the data is accessible through its own website. You can see the link there on the slide, which also offers several global reports that you can download. I'll walk you quickly through the website, so you see how it works. But as I said, one of the dimensions that is covered by the index is policy. And the policy dimension is covered through 11 indicators that were gathered through a survey that was launched together with ISO to its 165 ISO members. And the idea was basically to see the existence and the type of policies related to QI that are in place at the national level. So according to the results obtained, 55% of the responders had a national quality policy in place, and 30% of them had some sort of regulations or directives that define the functions and the responsibilities of the different areas of QI. Now, UNIDO is working on the second edition of this index that we expect to launch by the end of the year, which includes also a revised set of questions for the policy dimension. Analyzing the information provided by the first edition of the index, there is one message that came across quite strongly, and that message refers to the contribution of quality infrastructure to economic growth. So analyzing the data, one can see that there is a direct correlation between the overall development of a QI, of a quality infrastructure in a given country, and the GDP of that country. And that makes actually a strong business case for quality infrastructure development, and confirms that by investing in quality infrastructure system and by investing in quality policies, countries can boost their competitiveness and their economic prosperity. So as I said, I would also like to very quickly walk you through the website so you can see how it works. I hope you can see. So this is the landing page of the QI for Sustainable Development Index website. Here you can see already a comparison, ranking by country within different groups. We can go to other regions and see how different countries are doing within the African Union region overall in terms of their index. We can also dive deeper into the quality infrastructure dimensions. I don't know if this is charging, loading. Okay, here. So we can explore the data, for instance, per indicator, if we are interested in knowing more about the policy dimension. And you can see a global ranking here on the policy dimension exclusively. We can also sort it by groups, and we can go to the African Union, for instance, and we can see how the different countries in this region are doing in terms of policy. We also have the option to explore deeper into one or the other country profiles. Well, first, we can also compare the countries in the African region, not only by policy, but overall in the 5 dimensions that I covered by the index. But we can also dive deeper. Let's take, for instance, Ghana as an example. And you can see what kind of intelligence that the tool offers you. So it tells you how Ghana is doing compared to the world, but we can also compare it to the African Union. You can see that, for instance, in policy, it's slightly underperformance compared to the rest of the countries of the African Union. And then you can go down to the specific indicators for policy, and you can see where the weaknesses might be. So we see, for instance, that there is no implementation, or that they didn't report that they have an implementation plan for the quality policy. This might be one of the reasons why they are lagging a bit behind, or that they don't.
Rebecca, is it possible to hurry up? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm actually done.
Yeah, because we.
So I invite you all to go through the data that the platforms offer, and to explore and see how can this be used to feed the development of quality policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. This one is an interesting tool, and I hope we will have another dedicated time specifically for this tool. And it will be useful even after this seminar and after the other activities that are related to the implementation of the Africa Quality Policy. Thank you very much for showing us all the steps, even if it was a short time, but it created an interest for us to dig deeper in this. Now, it is time now to go through what we have in Africa. So we have heard about the international level quality infrastructure. We have heard the relationship with the region and continental and international quality infrastructure, and now how to implement and set an quality infrastructure system. So now we are going to Mr. Bia Budo. To just tell you more, Mr. Biabudu is a person who has, he's an expert who has worked with private sector. He has been involved in food and pharmaceutical industry in Mauritius, and he joined the government sector and copied the following posts. These are the deputy director at the Mauritius Standard Bureau. He was also a deputy director in the Mauritian Department of Environment. He was also a director of Mauritius Accreditation Service. He has conducted a technical assistance project in Africa in so many institutions such as UNEP and UNIDO. He also joined ISO as a director of the Development and Training Services unit in 2007 till 2014. And now since 2014, he has conducted several technical assistant projects, that's for UNIDO and the PTB, and also other agencies in the area of quality infrastructure and policy. So he has been the expert who developed the initial text of the Africa Quality Policy, and he was among the core team of the review of this policy and up to the submission and approval of the Africa Quality Policy. He's currently the freelance consultant for the PTB, intervening occasionally to support the latest project entitled Upgrading of Quality Infrastructure in Africa. So let me call upon Mr. Biabudu to present. He has a set of presentation, and he will he will start with the scope and objectives of AQP. Second will be on implementation of this Africa Quality Policy, and then he will go into the challenges of the alignment of national quality policies with the Africa Quality Policy. Welcome, Mr. Biabudu.
Thank you, Nadine, for this introduction. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants who are here. It's a pleasure to be among you to present these issues, which are very important, I think, at this stage of development of the activities regarding the AQP implementation. So I think it's very opportune time now to build on this momentum. So thank you, Hermogen, Arso, and Bernard Boy UNIDO for having given me this opportunity. I will not, in my presentations, I'm not going to go through the AQP, the various objectives and scopes, the text. I mean, you are probably all very much aware of the text of the AQP. Many of you probably have also participated in the development of the AQP. It was a very, very beautiful exercise that I contributed in. And I think what we have now is a very good foundational document at the level of Africa, as you all mentioned, as the speakers before me mentioned. And from this now, we have to build an operational system at the level of Africa. And it's going to be a challenge, and I'm going to a bit highlight the challenges that we have all to face to come up with an operating system in Africa. So if you bear with me, I'll share my first PowerPoint.
Yes, you are allowed. You can share from your side if you are okay. Oh.
Yes, I will take the screen. Thank you, Nadine. All right, so I hope you can see the slides.
Yes, yes.
So the first presentation of the scope and objectives, and I think, as we mentioned, the development process for this Africa Quality Policy was indeed a very, very formidable job. It was supported by, led by EUC and PACI with support from PTB Germany and Afrexim Bank. The first draft was circulated to member states in 2019. And then we had 2 consultative physical workshops in Nairobi and Abuja, which was very, very interesting. In all, we had 50 AU member states and 6 recognized RECs who participated in the workshops. The second draft was circulated a bit later, and we also had 640 comments submitted electronically on the 2 drafts. So I think it was a it was a great exercise of consensus building. I mean, we all standards people, and our motto is consensus. And I think this document has searched for and obtained a very wide consensus from Africa on what we need to be doing for the continent. So I think we already have a very good foundational document on which we now have to build. And I think what I'm going to touch on is not really what it is about, but what went into it when we were conceiving the AQP, what are the interlinkages with the NQPs and the REC quality policies, and how all these pieces of puzzle should fit together to make it work for the continent. It's not really an abstract or kind of a theoretical thinking. We really have the challenge to make this whole system work now. We have already waited, as SG said, for 30 years to have a kind of a policy like this at the African level. Now we've got to make it work as quickly as possible. So I think the elements of the QIS first, before we go to the quality policy, of course, is related to the quality infrastructure system. And what we have defined in the AQP, we have defined the QIS system as this combination of these 7 functions. We don't, in the AQP, look so much to the physical institutions or bodies that constitute the various technical elements like accreditation, metrology, and so on, but we talk about the functions. These functions have to be really fulfilled in order to have a very effective quality infrastructure in place. This is very important. QI, of course, is the foundation stone for implementing quality. It's a definition. The quality policy just directs how the QI is developed and sustained. That's the definition. In an ideal world, of course, because all countries should work along the same lines, the international requirements and so on, and they should have the quality policies and the national quality infrastructure systems technically equivalent, but this is not the case. We have so many different scenarios. And in any case, the scale and how the 7 QI functions, accreditation, metrology, and so on, are organized is something that is different from country to country. So even today, there is no internationally agreed guidance on the content coverage and levels of details in the AQP. UNIDO has prepared a few documents which are very, very useful for people to think about the national quality policies. We have now the AQP, which has a given structure. And I guess when we are talking about alignment of national quality policies with the AQP, it means that the NQP will probably need to adopt the same kind of structure so that we can compare NQPs among African countries and even with the AQP. So this is about the content of it. But even though we don't have an internationally agreed guidance on what the NQP should contain, nevertheless, because we are aligning with the AQP, we have prepared, PACI has published a guidance document on how, what are the criteria, the elements that need to be taken into consideration when we are transposing AQP policy aspects into national quality policies. So this document has been published, is already on the PACI website. And a few countries are already working with technical partners to align the NQPs with the AQP. The QIS as a system, of course, as we said, there's no preset model for how the quality infrastructure system should be in a given country. Each country has different mix of QI institutions, depending on what their market needs and the critical mass that is there. If there is not enough organizations that would seek accreditation, then you don't need to set up an accreditation body and things like this. So I think it depends on the on the critical mass of services that are needed by the market. That determines what QI institutions are set up by the country. In whatever configuration the QI is, all the elements of the quality system, infrastructure system, have to work as a system. So there is no really hierarchy. We talk sometimes about the 3 pillars of quality infrastructure and so on. But in my opinion, I mean, all the 7 elements of the quality infrastructure system are equally important, and they all should work as a system. If one fails, everything fails. So even if a country doesn't have a national accreditation body, it still must have access to accreditation services to demonstrate competence of its conformity assessment bodies. So I think the key word is access to QIS functions. It's not really about the bodies, whether they exist, they have been created or not. It's whether the function, we have access to those functions to make sure that the quality infrastructure system works as a system. Now, a quality policy is adopted at the national, regional level to develop an effective quality infrastructure system. But at continental level in Africa, we don't have a physical QI system to develop or sustain. We don't have a quality infrastructure system that is managed by the AU or the AUC, for example. So we don't have, so the AQP then is not about managing or sustaining a continental quality infrastructure system. It means that the AQP policies are a mix of policies, some of which are transposable to national quality policies and others that are not. For among those that are not transposable policies, many of these policies that are contained in the AQP aim at supporting PACI institutions, assessing gaps at continental level, building QI capacity for continental priority sectors, etc. Things that are not taken into consideration or dealt with at the national or regional level. So these are the kind of things, if you wanted to make an assessment of the conformity assessment capacities in Africa for some X priority product, these are the kind of things that the AQP would do. So the AQP, as it strengthens the continent's ability to comply with the international requirements and align the QI policy with established best practices and principles, because it is itself based on these international best practices and principles. But all these objectives of the AQP can only be attained if national quality policies and REC quality policies are aligned with the AQP and all work as a system. The word system is important because they all have to work together. So some concepts very quickly. A policy is only a guide. It's a guide to the action so that everything that you do it in a consistent manner. It's not a strategy or anything. It's just a guide to the actions of people. There are different policy types. You've got the broad strategic policy, which enunciates general direction. You could have specific policy, which may be developed for a particular area like standardization or export sector. And then you've got operational policy, which may guide decisions on programs and project selection. Operational policy would be like my metrology organization. What are the basic SI units that I have to maintain and seek traceability for? Do I have to maintain time, or do I not need to maintain time? I just do with mass, volume, and things like this. So these are operational policies. And a policy measure, as we have described it in the AQP, is something that you do to implement a policy. So a policy, of course, is useful when there is a choice. And in many countries, as we have said, because countries are different and they have different quality infrastructure systems, there is always a choice about how you want to tackle a specific thing in quality infrastructure. Now, when we were developing the AQP, we have this PACI stock-taking exercise, which looks at the proficiency of the quality infrastructure that exists in the African countries. And on the left, you have the 2017 stock-taking exercise. On the right, you have the 2023 stock-taking exercise. The objective, of course, is to move from left to right and make sure that all the yellow and the red ones, red-colored countries, disappear and become green. That's what's the objective we are pursuing in Africa. So I think we have a good kind of indicators at that level from the package stock-taking exercise, together with any other tools that UNIDO has just presented, that can be used to see where we are moving. And I think when we're implementing the AQP, we will be monitoring the performance indicators to see where we are going and whether we are reaching the objectives or not. The scope of the AQP, of course, at the national level, we just clarify the functions, roles, and responsibilities of the QI institutions. Similarly, at the regional level as well, the RECs bring a certain level of alignment of the NQPs that are there within their member states. And sometimes there are even regional policies that supersede national ones. For example, in the EAC, they have the possibility to declare compulsory standards that are applicable in the whole of the EAC. In the case of a continental policy, given that there are so many actors, so many kind of legislation, so many little blocks of puzzle that are involved, having the AQP was necessary to direct joint action that was the same set of quality objectives. And I think this is the challenge that countries realized. And I think the discussions around the development of the AQP was very, very interesting from that point of view. So actually the AQP, the scope of the AQP is to make sure that NQPs and REC level QPs are aligned with the AQP and they all work as a system. Again, I repeat, as a system. When we're developing the AQP, there are elements to be considered. There are some policies and policy measures that fit in a national quality policy and others that don't. And there are those that are relevant to only regional and continental quality policies. An NQP should contain policies, as I said, to cover the types of policies relating to strategy, specificity, and operations all at the same time. A continental policy would involve mainly strategy with some specificity, but little operational policies and measures, because the continental level, we don't have a quality infrastructure system, a physical QI system that works. So the AQP is looking at the forest, much less at the trees. Now, the continental policy should, of course, build upon the NQP and REC level QPs and be aligned with the same set of international requirements, and all have to operate according to the same international requirements and best practices. So when we are transposing AQP policies and policy measures in NQPs and REC quality policies, we are moving from a strategic type of policy to an operational type of policy for the QI system. Maybe in our later presentations, I will go a bit more in detail into that, but that's basically what it is. When NQPs and REC QPs are transposing AQP policies, they have to go several steps beyond what the AQP says. They have to show how these policies will work. And I'll illustrate that aspect a little bit later in an accreditation example. So we have used the guiding principles that have been published by UNIDO, the principles of ownership, inclusiveness, coherence, optimization, and sustainability. I will not go into the detail of it because in the AQP, we have shown how these various principles are used in the AQP policies. But just as an example from the point of view optimization principle, we have seen that regions have chosen to deal with accreditation not from the national point of view, but from a regional point of view by creating SADCAS in SADC and SOAC in West Africa. This is an optimization. And along the same lines, maybe training for metrologists or dissemination of international traceability to SI units might be cheaper when you look at it from a REC regional point of view. Now, we have this, I have given this example in the AQP, we have rejection by Europe of food and feed exports. Now, these rejections concern countries in 4 REC regions. So just imagine each region would be looking at ways to diminish the mycotoxin content in those rejected foods. it will be 4 times the same exercise. So clearly, this kind of issues is something that can be dealt with at a continental level much better than at a national or regional level. Technical regulations is the same thing. We need a continental approach to say how technical regulations are developed, enforced, and applied. Regions can't do it, can do it, of course, within their own member states. But in order for all regions to work along the same guide, we need a continental framework. So this is an optimization. And ACTREF, which is African Continental Technical Regulatory Framework, will become the guiding policy for the AFCFTA agreement to minimize TBTs. AFCFTA Secretariat has been very much involved with the AUC to develop this ACTREF document, which is going to be approved at the next, probably at the next STC team meeting. Now, the example of the type of policy that fits NQPs and AQP, if you look at the accreditation example, a country has different choices to make. We have talked about choices and the need for policies. Accreditation services can be procured from a non-African, accreditation body, or from a foreign African internationally recognized national accreditation body, or a regional body like SOAC or SADCAS, or through a national accreditation body that the country creates, but which is not accredited. It takes time, or they can create a national accreditation body that has not become signatory to the MRA of ILAC, AFRAC, IEF, and so on. So their accreditations are not recognized. So you can create an accreditation body, but it will not be recognized in the immediate. Or you can have a national accreditation body that you create today, and you can twin it with a foreign internationally recognized accreditation body and issue joint accreditations. So all these are options that a country can take when they're considering whether they can have an accreditation body or not. And the NQP should assess and select which of the 5 options the country has to adopt. But when you come to the continental level, the AQP level, the accreditation scenario from the AQP perspective would look at policies like this: encourage member states to use the services of multi-economy or national accreditation bodies from Africa. This is the continental policy, which is different from any kind of policy that would be in an NQP. It can't be in an NQP. So it is a regional policy. Encourage member states and RECs to arrange for the provision of accreditation services and so on. Strengthen AFRAC to extend its MRA scopes. You can read through it afterwards. But these are the kind of things that at the level of AQP make sense, but not at the level of REC quality policies or NQPs. So there is a difference when we go from NQP to AQPs. Of course, the AQP requests member states to recognize and accept results of conformity assessment. Sorry. So when we are moving from the AQP continental level policies to the national level, when we are aligning, we are moving from strategic to operational policies. So that's the element we have to consider when we are doing this alignment exercise. Now for the AQP implementation, we have AQP. We've got 81 policies and policy measures in that document. There are 59 of them. They are transposable to NQPs, meaning that NQPs have to refer to them, and to go, as I said, beyond what the NQP says. They have to show how these policies will work in the national quality infrastructure system. And there are 20 policies and policy measures. They are relevant only at the continental level. The funding sources have been identified, but they need to be put in place. The council has been constituted to monitor implementation, and an action plan for AQP implementation is due to be submitted to the AU member states shortly for consultation and comments. So that's a brief of where we have gone in the AQP development and where we are at now, launching now, if you wish, the implementation phase of the AQP. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I can take them, but probably my other presentation that I will make, maybe your questions will preempt those things that are in the second presentation, but I'll be happy to take questions. Thank you very much, Najin. I stop sharing now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Budo, for giving us a clear insight on the establishment of this quality policy. So for us to manage the time, I would wish to receive our questions through the chat. But for this, we have received 2 questions. I can I don't know if you have looked in the chat, but one from Amadou Ba. It is, please need some clarification on the pillars of the NQI. Has market surveillance now been a pillar of the NQI? If so, what is the difference with inspection bodies? So it is that is one. Maybe you can respond to this, but he has also asked another one. Actually, I have 3 questions, and we will get to the other 2 after you respond to this.
Okay, so if you allow me, I'll respond to it. I think market surveillance is described in the definition of the quality infrastructure as was defined by the IQNet when they came up with the definition. Market surveillance, of course, doesn't appear in any of the AQP quality infrastructure elements. There are 7 of them. Market surveillance is supposed to be in one of the elements, which is about the technical regulatory framework. Market surveillance goes with that. So there is nothing that it's not missed. It's in the technical regulatory framework. Thank you, Najin.
Yeah, thank you very much. The second one now is before the development of the AQP, there were regional quality policies such as ECOWAS. I think it's at ECOQUAL. How standardized the regional quality policies? I know you have talked about this, but maybe you can give some clarification.
Yes, thank you very much. I think just like for NQPs, the REC quality policies will also have to be reviewed to see whether the elements that the AQP expect RECs, the role that AQP expects RECs to play, whether RECs have taken those policies on board. For example, when we are talking about the technical regulatory framework, when we are talking about convergence of technical regulations and so on, I think there is an important role for RECs to play in bringing regulatory cooperation among their members. So each REC, if they could bring international regulatory cooperation among their members, I think it will go a long way towards implementing the technical regulatory framework that Africa is taking as an ACTREF, African Continental Technical Regulatory Framework. So I think if these issues are not taken on board, I think REC will probably have to take them on board now. So I think it is a time now when we are looking at NQPs and alignment with AQPs. I think all the pieces of puzzles have to be put on the drawing table, and from there to see if there are gaps, how to address those gaps and so on.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you very much. And the third question is now he's asking, what are the indicators that countries shift from red states to green states? I think he's referring to the stock taking, maybe, where some countries were in red, others were in green. So maybe he was asking what are the indicators. This question, I think if you can respond to it, or I can just respond, is these stock taking documents were prepared by the Pan-African Quality Infrastructure Institutions Joint Committee. So there was a set of indicators as per the QI element or pillar. So for instance, if on standardization, ARSO and AFSEC, we had like indicators on whether a country is a member of the international standard setting bodies, regional standard setting bodies, if they participate actively at this level, and if they even have some level of responsibilities, such as taking leadership and all those. So if a country has those level of involvement in such activities, so there is also color indication of their development. So it's a set of that. If you could, maybe I will share the link in the chat, so that you can go further and read the documents. Then from there you will know now what happened, why your country is in red or why your country is in green. Yeah, thank you. I don't see any other question. Maybe you can go to the second presentation, to the third second presentation, then we will get more questions later on.
Yes,
yes.
Nadine, if you allow me, there is a very interesting question from Liberia. I think they're asking whether we can legislate QIs in the absence of an NQP. It's a very, very important question. So I just take 1 minute to respond to that. I think, you see, many countries have QI systems operating since always. I mean, you know, without having an NQP. Many developed countries don't have an NQP. So I think an NQP is not a legal document. NQP is a policy document. It's a guide to the actions of people, and the quality infrastructure elements are already legislated. You can, for example, you might have a standards act, you know, the legislation dealing with standards. You can have a metrology act, you know, measurements SI units act or something. So the QI elements already have separate legislation that cover their activities. So NQP is not really about legislating. It's just putting everything together on the table and see how everything works as a system. And so that's the most important thing. We should never try to legislate NQPs. I think they are there to be able to be changed all the time. I mean, if you have an NQP and you see that the system you have provided doesn't work, then you have to revise it and then try another scenario and so on and so forth. So I think NQP is not a legal document. It's a very dynamic thing that you have to keep updated all the time. And the ultimate, the best NQP is the NQP which makes your quality infrastructure system work perfectly. Perfectly perhaps is not the word, but makes it work effectively to fulfill the purpose for which it is made. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can see more questions now. The other question is, oh, okay, we have got, okay, we know quality covers a broad spectrum. Is it prerequisite for a national quality policy to cover all quality issues like education, hospitality industry, and products?
Okay,
This
very,
is,
very interesting question. I think also it needs clarification. We have said in the AQP, in a small box you will see in the document, that quality infrastructure system, there is one quality infrastructure system in the country, the only one. That quality infrastructure system has to cater for agricultural products, for medicinal products, for whatever you are producing, for which there needs to be demonstration of quality according to a standard or a technical regulation. All products and sectors must be covered by that one quality infrastructure system. And there will be one national quality policy to make all this work. I hope I answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's go to the next. Accreditation has been a thorny issue for small economies and mostly costly to purchase the service from outside. What is the best possible option for these small economies? Wow.
Yes, this is an issue I know very well because we had to deal with that. I was in Mauritius as director of accreditation, and we have to determine at some point in time whether we needed an accreditation body or not. And I think this is a constant kind of worry for small economies. And I think even at that level, when we started looking at this issue in SADC in the 1997, then it developed into the SADCA and the SADCAS and so on. At the same time, West Africa, we were working in West Africa. They also couldn't afford to have national accreditation bodies, so they adopted SOAC. It was back in 2005 that SOAC was created. It took some time to be operational, but already at that time, countries felt that it wasn't possible for them to have national accreditation bodies, so a regional solution was looked at. So there are several types of issues in play, and the country has to make a proper assessment to see which is the best way to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is the last one, but it is not for you. I think I will keep it and give it to Rebecca when we are closing, so that we are not interfering with the flow of your presentation. Yeah, I think you can take your presentation, then we keep the questions later on.
Yeah,
for
thank
us
you very much.
to move forward. Yeah, thank you.
So I'll share my screen then. So I'll in my second presentation I'll be talking about the AQP implementation, because it's really a challenge for all of us now that we have this foundational document. Everybody has built it is a consensual document. Everybody agrees that it should be implemented. What are we doing now to get it implemented? And I think from the governance and management point of view of the AQP implementation, the governance rests with the STC-TIM, but it can delegate some of its tasks to the AQP Council. AQP Council has already been constituted. I'll describe it in another slide. But there is one issue that the STC-TIM, although it keeps governance of the AQP, but if there are quality infrastructure issues related to intra-African trade, then it shall refer it to the AFCFTA Council of Ministers responsible for trade. As I said, under the QIS elements of the AQP, we built the technical regulatory framework. And from the point of view of technical regulatory framework and minimization of technical barriers to trade and so on, the technical regulatory framework that we have developed under the AQP is a tool that the AFCFTA will use as part of a deliverable for them to ensure that TBTs are minimized in intra-African trade. So that's why the STC-TIM refers things to the AFCFTA Council of Ministers. That's the optimal solution. Now the AQP Council will be responsible for implementing and coordinating all the activities of the AQP with the support of the African Union Commission. And the AQP Council has already developed its formal rules of procedure that applies to it, and applies also to any committee, subcommittee, panel, or working group established by the AQPC. The rules of procedure will apply also to the other bodies not created by AQP Council. For example, if you've got PACI institutions and RECs, they are given a responsibility in the implementation of the AQP to do certain things, you know, to collect data, to do some cooperation, to implement internet regulatory cooperation, things like this that RECs can be called upon to do under the AQP. So these rules of procedure will also apply to them. So really, the players who are going to be involved in implementing the AQP are really varied, and at all levels, national levels, REC levels, and the continental levels as well. The AQP composition, this is the AQP composition. We've got the representative of the AFCFTA Secretariat, chaired by the AU Commissioner. The PACI chairperson, we've got the PACI now as a regional organization, you all know. representatives of the individual PACI institutions, AFRAC, AFSEC, ASU, and so on, representatives of the RECs that are recognized by the African Union, and stakeholder representatives. All these representatives would be on the AQPC. But beyond that, other bodies and persons may be appointed by STCTIM to be permanent members of the council if we find that there is such an expertise lacking for the AQPC to work properly. Now, the functions is to monitor and oversee implementation of the AQPC, develop and monitor, oversee the AQ PIPs and POPs. I'll say what it is a bit later. I'll describe it in more detail. But the AQP action plan, the first one is the AQP action plan, the AQP implementation plans, and the AQP annual work plans that will define how the AQP is going to be implemented. The AQPC can commission studies and so on because there is a lack of data in many areas. So you have to do studies to collect the data for AQP to be able to move in the right direction. Review the status of the continental quality infrastructure and make recommendations for modernization improvements. Consider decisions that STCTIM might take. The Minister of Industry might come up with something that needs to be done relative to the quality infrastructure. Then AQPC will be the body to take it up and try to get it implemented. Prepare and present reports to the STCTIM as governance. And as I said, it may establish on permanent or temporary basis technical committees and so on. And AQPC will encourage private sector players to be involved and invest in quality infrastructure in Africa. Very important element. Secretariat is the Department of Economic Development, Tourism, a team at the level of the AUC. But the AUC team will also work closely with the FCFTA Secretariat, as I said, RECs and the PACI Secretariat in implementing activities related to the African Continental Technical Regulatory Framework, ACTREF. Management of implementation, the AUC, in close cooperation with the PACI and individual PACI institutions, handles the following operational issues: the multi-level consultation mechanisms and consensus building. When we're implementing certain things, there is need for that consultation mechanisms and consensus to be there all the time. Collection of data, of course, development of action plans, implementation plans, and annual work plans, dealing with stages of project management, including development of project management manuals. So that this is the nitty-gritty implementation, project management implementation of the AQP. Selecting and monitoring project execution partners, consultations. Operational issues with regard to the implementation of the ACTREF activities, everything related to the technical regulations, technical regulatory framework, are handled by the FCFTA Secretariat under guidance by their own subcommittee on technical barriers to trade, created under the FCFTA agreement. So FCFTA Secretariat, of course, will work closely with the AUC for this management accept. The AQP project types that we imagine will need to be formulated and implemented. They can be individually funded projects, in beneficiary countries. They can be national projects, only one country, multinational with several countries, and regional, for example, at the REC level. Or continental projects for implementation of global projects within the whole of Africa. Beneficiary countries participating in multinational projects shall take the responsibilities involved in project implementation. That is clear enough. It is something that the AQPC will look at carefully. Countries that are going to benefit from resources and the AQP implementation have to be fully on board. They have to have their own, entities identified. They have to monitor the implementation, and they have to do what needs to be done at the national level. So the areas where projects will be implemented, we have seen from the principles of optimization that is contained in the AQP, Africa cannot do everything immediately in all areas. So there will need to be priorities along which resources of the AQP will be devoted to implement the AQP. So I think the priority is, so when we are talking about priorities, there needs to be a proper mechanism that is acceptable by everybody, where everybody is consulted, how the priority areas are selected. And the priority areas can be selected today, and 2 years later, another things come as a priority area. So I think this mechanism has to be there for consultation with the member states and AFCFTA state parties, where the resources are going to go as priority sectors of intervention. The AQP project plans, AQP PAP, the action plan, it's the high-level document mainly for the governance. So the AQP action plan is the governance level document. It focuses exclusively on work packages and tasks. It is meant to contain, as a definition, the totality of the actions needed to implement the AQP. It's kind of the bigger picture, what AQP, where AQP is going, what needs to be done. That's the action plan. It is meant to provide the visibility, coherence, and direction for the bigger picture, as I said. It formulated at the start of the implementation of the AQP, and then revised after the AQP is reviewed 3 and 5 years afterwards. So a draft AQP action plan has been prepared and will be circulated shortly to AU member states and RECs for consultation and comments. And the activities in that action plan, they are classified as continental level activities, regional activities, and national activities. So the action plan contains all these level of activities. And of course, I mean, when the consultation is done, everybody will be able to make the contributions to this action plan. It is a governance level document. And when it is circulated to member states, what we don't want is to have a kind of a shopping list coming back with all sorts of things. So you have to really see it as a governance level, the bigger picture kind of activities that we have to include in that action plan. So for it to be visible all the time to everybody. So there are 222 activity headings in that action plan. So there are quite a number of things that are already jotted down there. There will be scope to add other things as well. The implementation plan, on the other hand, is a kind of a lower level document describing a limited number of activities to be implemented in a short time frame. It's for the AQP Council at governance level and implementing partners at project management level. It is more holistic. It looks at everything that goes in the implementation process, risks, resources, team roles, and responsibilities, who is responsible for what. So the implementation plan goes into more details. And it is at this level that overlaps and duplication are examined and discarded. In the parentheses, in the brackets, I have said that there are bound to be overlaps because PUYAI projects are constantly being implemented in African countries since ages. And there are probably things in that action plan that are there that have already been carried out at the level of a region or in countries. And it is in the implementation plan that we have to make sure that we are not duplicating something that has already been done. There are probably thousands of things that have been done in Africa, so we have to be careful at that level of the implementation plan. It could be on a yearly or biennial basis. You can have an implementation plan for 2 years, specify the activities to be implemented, the priorities and things like this. And of course, it is tied to the availability of resources and priorities. So implementation plan, we will do just what we have resources to do. It is also planned to be submitted to AU member states and RECs for consultations after it is prepared. We haven't worked on that yet. And the annual work plan, of course, is documented based on the AQP-IP describing activities to be carried out over a year. It further breaks down to small achievable tasks and things like this. And prepared mostly by the specialists in the area concerned, such that if you had something to do in the area of accreditation, for example, then we would look for AFRAC to see what we could do in an annual work plan and so on. and they will have to consult with the EU member state and REX before they come before we come up with an annual work plan covering accreditation and others, of course. So thank you very much. I hope I gave you a gist of where we are going. Everything has to be put in music now, in tune. We've got all the pieces of puzzle, as I said, from the AQP. Now it's a question of putting them together and moving ahead. Quite a challenge for all of us, for you and for all the bodies involved in Africa. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Peter Mbudo. Sorry. Now, do we go to the 2 questions or we continue? I have got 2 questions. Yeah, one is it necessary for a national quality infrastructure aligned with the TBT-SPS issues only? Maybe he's talking if the aligned NQP will be covering the TBT-SPS issues only. Do we have anything else? What can you tell us about this?
Yes, very interesting question. As I said earlier, the AQP has been based on internationally agreed principles. We want in the AQP itself, we have said that we want member states to be compliant with the TBT, WTO requirements, and so on and so forth. So there is no incompatibility with what the AQP says and the responsibilities of countries that are members of the WTO. AFCFTA agreement also, if you look at it, it says that it promotes its state parties to apply the requirements of the TBT requirement, the TBT requirements to apply these as well. So there is no incompatibility there either. So I think because we said that at the strategic level, NQPs and quality infrastructure have to conform to the AQP, AFCFTA, and the WTO TBT, and all these are not incompatible. They are along the same line, so there is no duality or anything.
Yeah. Thank you again. There is another question. It's in French.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you will also respond in French, and those who have not put their mic under the French interpretation English can do so. So, est-ce que la politique nationale qualité prime sur la politique africaine qualité?
Très bonne question. Comme j'ai dit, il n'y a pas de... Alors, tout d'abord, on a toujours dit dans la formulation de la politique qualité de l'Afrique de dire que les pays sont souverains. Les pays décident comment ils doivent mener leur infrastructure qualité, quelles sont les institutions qu'ils doivent créer, comment ils doivent faire pour avoir quelque chose, un système d'infrastructure qualité qui subvient à leurs besoins. Donc, ils sont souverains. Donc, personne ne va venir leur dire que c'est comme ça qu'il faut faire. Okay? Donc, que ce soit pour l'infrastructure qualité, que ce soit pour la politique nationale qualité, que ce soit pour le cadre réglementaire, pour les règlements techniques, les États sont souverains. Donc, d'une certaine façon, si on le considère comme ça, on peut dire que les éléments nationaux priment sur tout autre, parce qu'ils sont souverains. Mais l'esprit de l'infrastructure qualité et de la politique qualité de l'Afrique n'est pas vraiment d'essayer comment dirais-je, d'imposer quelque chose. En fait, on regarde, on veut que les politiques nationaux, les politiques des régions et la politique africaine qualité soient tous coordonnés et compatibles. Donc, il n'y a pas un qui prime sur l'autre. Tout doit marcher comme un système, comme je viens de souligner un peu plus tôt, pour que tout marche. Si vous avez une politique nationale qualité qui est en contradiction avec la politique qualité africaine, il y a quelque part, à un certain moment, il y a des choses qui ne marcheront pas. Puisque, comme je vous dis, la politique qualité africaine est basée sur comment dirais-je, sur les exigences internationales. Donc voilà, il n'y a rien qui prime sur l'autre, mais on veut que tout marche ensemble. C'est ça l'esprit, si vous voulez. Merci beaucoup. Nadine, you are muted.
Oh oui, merci. Je suis vraiment désolée. Je disais que puisqu'on est toujours en français, on peut prendre la deuxième question qui est en français et puis on va aux autres questions en anglais. La question est, il n'y a pas de modèle standard de politique nationale qualité, mais est-ce qu'il y a un guide d'élaboration de politique nationale qualité qui a été déjà élaboré? Je pense qu'il y en a, que l'on nous dit. Merci.
Oui. Il y a comment je dirais, l'ONUDI a préparé 3 guides sur les principes, sur le guide technique, etc., pour la politique nationale qualité. Je dois quand même dire que la façon dont les éléments de l'infrastructure qualité sont définis est un peu différent dans les guides que l'ONUDI a préparés et ce que la politique qualité Afrique a fait. Dans la politique qualité Afrique, les éléments de l'infrastructure qualité sont définis comme les 7 éléments, comme des fonctions, accréditation, la fonction normalisation, etc. Alors que dans le guide technique de l'ONUDI, ils sont définis aussi comme les instances de gouvernance des institutions de l'infrastructure qualité, les utilisateurs des services, les fournisseurs de services, etc. Donc, je disais qu'il n'y a pas de modèle agréé au niveau international concernant le contenu d'une politique nationale qualité, mais que ce soit le guide de l'ONUDI, que ce soit le guide que Paki a préparé, que je viens de souligner tout à l'heure, pour l'alignement des politiques nationales qualité avec la politique qualité africaine, tous ces guides-là, il y a suffisamment d'éléments pour aider les pays à formuler la politique nationale qualité. Mais puisqu'on est dans l'Afrique, si c'est un pays africain, on voudrait que la politique nationale qualité, disons, c'est un souhait que la politique nationale qualité soit basée sur la même structure que la politique qualité de l'Afrique. Alors, si toutes les politiques nationales qualité des pays africains sont basées sur la même structure que la politique qualité Afrique, il sera possible de comparer très facilement des éléments pour savoir demain s'il y a le conseil de la PQA demande où en sommes-nous, quel est le progrès dans l'alignement des politiques nationales qualité, etc. On peut comparer et sortir des éléments de réponse. Mais si les structures sont différentes, ce sera très compliqué. Donc voilà un peu, moi ce que je conseillerais, puisqu'on a maintenant un guide qui montre aux pays comment aligner leur politique nationale qualité avec la politique qualité de l'Afrique, je crois que c'est ce guide-là qui doit primer maintenant quand les pays africains doivent revoir ou formuler leur politique nationale qualité.
Voilà. Merci beaucoup. Okay, let us switch to English. We have 2 more questions from the same person. Has the AQP ratified by all the RECs? And if so, why the RECs still stand with their RECs QP? This is a question to respond to.
Yeah. Yes, I think again, I mean, there is no question of ratification is probably it's not appropriate word for it because it's not something that it's not something that the African Union imposes on RECs or on African countries to ratify, to adopt, or whatever it is. The AQP is there as the kind of as an exaltative. It is something that tells people this is the way we should all go. Let's go along those lines all together. When you are doing your national quality policy, the REC quality policies, we have defined a way ahead in the AQP. Let's go along that same road. That's the understanding. It's nothing to force them to adopt it or not. So I think that the effort has to be exhortative, that everybody has to agree that this is the best way to go, and let's go together along those lines, all together. So that's why the RECs are in the AQP Council, so that they can trace the way forward to be able to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The other question is, secondly, AQP has implementation plan. Can this plan be included in all NQPs so that resources can be maximized and the QI services can be useful to the public?
Absolutely. Very, very interesting question. Very, very important. As I said, we have the action plan where we have defined activities that should be carried out at continental level, at REC level, and at national level. And I think the actions that need to be conducted at national level, if they are for a single country or several African countries, these have to be catered for in the national action plans. If I can't get an example now, but suppose, no, suffice for me to say, without looking for complicated examples, that if AQP in its action plan has something that it calls upon individual countries to carry out, those individual countries should include those activities in their own national action, in the national quality policies, and in the action plan of the national quality policies.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The other one, maybe it's, I can just try to readjust it. Does the Africa quality policy, or do the AQP key points, are the AQP key points ready to be applied in each sector, such as healthcare service or pharmaceutical at national level? So she's trying to ask if the AQP principles will be applied in a certain sector.
Yes, I understand it more from the point of view of sectors where AQP resources would be applied. The AQP elements will be applied, and these are, according to me, the priority sectors. As I said, AQP cannot do everything right at the beginning. There will need to be priority sectors that have to be decided upon, and in those priority sectors, the whole of the plan, the action plan, the implementation of the AQP will be sort of concentrated. Let's suppose tomorrow we have a priority for medicines in Africa. Suppose African Union says medicines is priority. Then we have to make sure that all the elements of the quality infrastructure for this sector of medicines is up and running. If there are gaps, then the AQP should look at projects to fill those gaps. If there are gaps because there are different technical regulations, if there are gaps because there is a lack of testing laboratories, if there's a problem about conformity assessment, there is no proficiency testing for medicinal product and things like these are all gaps that doesn't allow that sector to operate effectively and have the quality recognized internationally and so on. So in that priority sector, all the elements of the quality infrastructure should be concentrated to fill the gaps. So similarly, if medicines is chosen, if, I don't know, footwear, if automobile or agriculture or food or whatever is chosen as priority sectors, then we have to ensure that in those priority sectors, we make sure that all the things that need to work to have an effective quality infrastructure are there. If they are not there, then they have to be constructed into it through resources and projects and so on, and the AQP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last one is, do the RECs who currently do not have quality policies still need to establish the regional quality policies given the existence of the AQP? Will this not work against the objective of or principles of the FCFTA?
I didn't get the question, Nadine. I think the
Yes,
voice was interrupted at some point.
Okay, he was asking if the RECs who have not got their regional quality policies still need to develop one. If they need to develop that quality policy, is it not a problem with the implementation or the objectives of the AFCFTA?
Yeah, well, we haven't said anywhere that RECs need to develop a quality policy. The RECs, there are other ways RECs are working. For example, EAC has a law, the Act, ECOWAS has the ECOQUAL, the SADC, they have all the SADC SQUAM structures and the protocol on trade and so on. The way they're implementing quality infrastructure is different. They are still implementing it even without having, for some of them, a formal quality policy. But again, I mean, the idea of having a quality policy is to put everything on the drawing board, see what you have, see what is needed, and the AQP gives a direction what is needed. The FCFTA agreement as well gives what is needed now in trade. So put everything that you have as a REC, see where you need to go, and if you see that there is need to take policies in certain areas, then a quality policy at that REC level would be needed, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that clarification. I think we can continue with the last presentation, then we will be able to continue with the questions. But those who are asking for the presentations, we will provide them with the presentations. Exactly, those who have attended, they have registered. So we have your email addresses. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. So I'll take the third one, which is nearer to the topic we are dealing with today, about the alignment. So I think the challenges to the alignment of NQPs with the AQP. Some interesting points I'm going to bring forward. So for the national QPs, as of October 2023, because there is no really someone really keeping track of how many countries have NQPs and so on. So what we have been able to find, there are 25 African countries who have a national quality policy. 17 of them are available on the internet. The countries that have the AQPs, this is the list as of October 2023. Djibouti and Somalia are currently developing the NQPs. I don't know whether they have completed yet, but they were for some time developing the NQPs. At the REC level, quality policies take various forms, as I said a bit earlier. ECOWAS, ECOQUAL, in REC, the Testing Act, trade protocols in SADC, decisions and procedures in the tripartite standards. In the Central Africa, it's the projects and programs. So from the above, it is not expected, as I said a bit earlier, so the question preempted this slide. It's not expected for RECs to develop formal QPs, but they have an essential role to play in making the link between NQPs and the AQP. And as I said again, if, for example, at the regional level, they find that there is room for looking at taking up policies that they haven't considered before, then it will be useful for them to have a quality policy at the REC level. So what the AQP says about REC level QPs, ownership. It says that under the ownership principle, the member states should build and consolidate REC level QPs and align the national QIs, quality infrastructures. So we expect a bit member states to help REC develop QPs or consolidate QPs that they already have. And if REC have QPs, then it is the member states, because the African Union cannot dictate the RECs directly, of course. Member states who are members of the RECs, they have to make an undertaking and they have to undertake an effort to align their national and the REC quality policies to the AQP. It depends on the member states. Optimization. So we need to identify priority sectors, goods and services for which capacity should be built. And here you see that, for example, priority sectors for a REC and for the continent might be different. So there will need to be some sort of consultation where RECs are going and where the AU is going in terms of priority products. So there's a role for REC as well there. But more importantly, I think at the level of the AQP, there is one of the objectives is to create a rapid alert system, just like in Europe, to notify member states of substandard goods landing on the shores of Africa. I mean, we have multiple examples of ships going with substandard goods, not being able to discharge that into one port, they go to another country and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of thing where the AQP has as an objective to develop this rapid alert system, and RECs, of course, have a role to play in there. Now, RECs are also involved. We have said that when we are going to develop guidance on how countries set up the national technical regulatory framework along the lines of the continental technical regulatory framework. So the national ones, we call them the NATREF. The African one, we call it the ACTREF. So the NATREF are guidance for countries based on ACTREF, how countries develop technical regulations. So these are guidance. So PAC institutions, African Union Commission, and REC representatives are there to look at how this guidance is developed for members to apply. Now, if REC have technical regulatory framework, then it is expected of REC to align the national technical regulatory frameworks with the REC level technical regulatory framework that they have, because we want, regulatory harmonization and convergence and coherence aimed at minimizing TBTs. Not all REC have technical regulatory framework, but I will quote the EAC has this law at the level of EAC where they declare, compulsory standards. This is clearly a kind of a technical regulatory framework at the level of the REC. So I think there is scope for there to align REC level policies on technical regulations with the ACTREF as well. And this is for the metrology. I think we encourage RECs, the AQP encourages member states and RECs to ensure type approval and verification procedures for REC instruments at REC level first, and then at continental level. So there is a role to play for REC there. Now, because of the lack of information on NQPs in Africa, on data was quite lacking. So we did a desk research in 2021 to assess all the NQPs that we could find on the web. It is 17 AQPs. And we used the results of the desk research to design a detailed online survey of NQPs. And we invited all 55 AU member states to participate. The second survey, the online survey, was conducted in 2022, and 26 countries participated and provided responses. There was 117 mostly multiple choice and yes and no answers to facilitate filling all those questionnaires. We only received 26 responses, 19 were complete and 7 partial. 15 were from English-speaking countries and 11 French-speaking countries. That was a kind of a disappointment because it would have allowed us to find exactly on the continent, if all countries had responded, where we are exactly in terms of national quality policies. But it was a kind of a lost opportunity, a bit sad. Now, a combined report covering both surveys will shortly be published under the PTB AU project to show what were the findings, but I will just just briefly describe the findings. From the desk research on the 17 NQPs available on the web, we saw that the NQPs have varying degrees of readability and clarity. Contents were not really classified in a logical order that would allow people to understand what the situation is, where to go, and how to get there. I think, again, it's because there is the lack of internationally agreed kind of structure of the AQP to see how the flow of information, how the logical order, how it is structured, and so on, there's a lack of that. The contents among the 17, how should I say, they varied a lot. I'm just trying to get to that. I think I lost my cursor, but in any case, I will show it a bit later at the end of the presentation. What I mean by the contents vary as well. I have a chart for that. There is a general lack of distinction among the concepts of policies, policy measures, and activities in those 17. And in many of those NQPs, there was kind of a generic wish list of things that we wanted to see instead of having clear objectives and implementable measures. So I think the structure wasn't really clear for everybody to understand where the NQP was leading to. From the online survey, I think we found some good results from the countries that responded. The scopes were generally comprehensive. Objectives seemed to be aligned with the AQP objectives. Most of the NQPs were developed based on a proper situation analysis, needs assessment, and gap identification. Stakeholders were properly engaged, and many countries had a high-level coordinating body to ensure continual effectiveness of the NQP. This high-level coordinating body is very, very important. We'll probably come again on that again in our discussions. It is very, very important that at the national level, some entity is aware of everything that is going on in the quality infrastructure services area and the NQP. The institutional framework for QI bodies is variable, but mostly in line with international practice. But some setups are prone to conflicts of interest. For example, conformity assessment bodies doing accreditation as well, and things like this. I mean, they are not according to international best practices. They will have to review it at some point. And in the other cases, responsibilities seem to be fragmented with possibility of overlaps, gaps in functional roles. For technical regulations, I think several institutions may be responsible for technical regulations, so there are overlaps, gaps, and nobody does the functional role completely well. The private sector is recognized as an important partner in most of the NQPs. It is very, very important and useful. That's how it should be. In most cases, policies to support QI bodies to build or maintain linkages with international bodies are included. So that's there. Resources is another problem. Linkages might be there in the NQP to say that the local body should participate in meetings of ISO or anybody else. But whether the resources are there to allow this participation or not is something else. Capacity building in terms of training and awareness are well covered in most of these NQPs. Funding is well covered, identified. But government is, in most of the cases, it's the government which is the main contributor. There is not enough commitment to bring QI bodies to be self-sustainable financially. Many countries have started doing it, but this is something that needs to be carried out. And there is an undertaking for a majority of these to review and revise the legal framework governing operation of the QI bodies. Precisely if there are overlaps, or gaps, then there is a need to revise these laws. Implementation for NQPs are well planned with adequate governance and performance monitoring. So I think the NQP that we have found from the online survey gives good signals. I think very, very positive signals. Now the challenges for the alignment of NQPs, REC QPs, and the AQP, as I said, the QP needs will be different from country to country, meaning that each country will have an NQP which is different from another country. But all NQPs must comply with the international requirements. Alignment of the strategic, I have mentioned that there are strategic level policies, operational policies, and so on. Alignment of the strategic level policy of the AQP is directly transposable to the NQP because they come from international requirements. But the alignment of policies at the operational level needs deeper consideration, as we have mentioned as an example from the accreditation. Another example would be, for example, a regional or a continental strategic policy, for example, in the AQP or coming from the AQP as a decision, may stipulate that all testing laboratories in the area of health, safety, and so on must be accredited. But exactly how accreditation services are going to be provided in a given country is a national operational policy, and it will vary from country to country. So all the AQP policies are not transposable directly one-to-one with policies that are in the NQP. Sometimes both the strategic and the operational policies are best carried out at the regional level, and we have said again, the regions have chosen to deal with accreditation by creating SATCAS and SOAC, and so it was a strategic and an operational policy as well. So this type of issues will come up not only for accreditation, but in all areas, technical regulations, standards, standardization, metrology, and so on. There will be a need to see how AQP policies are transposed in national quality policies from an operational point of view. Now, RECs can play an essential role in the framing of operational bottom-up policies, such as the accreditation example. SADC did it, and ECOWAS did it, and UEMOA. For similar approaches might be needed in metrology, training, or traceability, for example. So optimization again. Now, we don't wish all African countries now to go and start revising the NQPs to align to the structure of the AQP. As I said, having the same structure as the AQP allows comparisons and so on, but we don't want countries just to scrap their national quality policies just because it is not according to the structure of the AQP. I think it is not necessary. Countries having an NQP should really concentrate on implementing it. But when they are revising the NQPs, it would be good that they align the structure of the NQPs with the structure of the AQP, of course. Now, because of the complexity mentioned in the foregoing paragraphs, different QIS, different countries, different ways of doing things, and so on, the depth of alignment is a first decision. Quality policies is really a mix of whether national, regional, is a mix of strategic and operational approaches. The top-down approaches, the strategic ones, are determined by WTTB requirements, FT, and so on. Bottom-up approaches, the operational ones, specific to the country and the QI sector under consideration. Accreditation example again. Look at both the top-down and the bottom-up policy levels. We are not really looking at having the AQP, REC level policies, and NQPs all looking the same, exactly drafted along the same structure and looking the same and so on, because it would be not a useless job, but I think it's not what is needed. I think there is bound to be differences in how countries deal with the issues. And as we said, each country is sovereign in the way it deals with these issues. So we are not really looking at making everything looking the same. But the alignment process at national and REC and continental level should start with a top-down strategic policies on which there should be no divergence in principle, since international requirements and best practices have to be followed by everyone. You've got the EFCFTA requirements, the WTO TBT requirements, and so on. There is no dispute among these requirements because everybody who have signed as member of WTO or EFCFTA agreement have to abide by these international requirements. So the aligning the top-down strategic policy is not a problem. So this is a thing. This is something that will be done immediately when you are aligning NQPs with the AQP. For operational policies, there can be different approaches at the national level or at the regional level. But if an approach is appropriate at the REC level, it is something that is good because it will allow the REC to pull the least advanced members to the same level as the other members. So again, where does the alignment come, to what depth you should go, and so on? This is something that has to be looked at from the operational point of view. And it is not something that is in the books or in any guidance or anything. It is there. We have examples how it has been done in accreditation and so on. So it just means that all these entities at these different levels have to sit down and come up with the best possible option to do that. So it is not something. The AQP is really the beginning. AQP is not the solution. AQP is the beginning of a road on which we have to go. Now people have to sit and see how best to go on that road. So the challenges are, if I may say, beginning now. So the guidelines for the alignment of the NQPs with the AQP clarifies the concept, what we mean by alignment, the objective and the level of alignment and so on. It's all explained in this guidelines document. And we have, for the 110 AQP policy aspects, there are 110 aspects in the AQP which touches on policy, not only on the QI elements, the standardization, accreditation, and so on, but also on the funding, on the implementation, on stakeholder involvement, international liaison. All these are policy aspects of the AQP. There are 110 of them, and we have developed 140 corresponding guidelines that should be covered by the NQP. So if you look at this document on the alignment, for these 100 AQP policy aspects, there are 140 corresponding guidelines. We say what needs to be covered in the NQP and how they should be covered. So all the guideline recommendations may not be applicable to all countries, but it is a comprehensive coverage that makes sure that, you know, there are fewer issues will be missed out in the NQP. So when you're looking at this guideline for the alignment, you will probably be able to revise your existing NQP to align with the AQP. And if you don't have an NQP, the guideline will also help you to develop your NQP in such a way that it is aligned with the AQP. So while certain policies of AQP may not be applied to NQPs because they are continental policies implemented at the continental level, we also have the reverse situation. The NQP must have something that the AQP doesn't have. For example, NQP, when you're developing the NQP, you have to assess the current state of the QIS, identify gaps, and then propose measures in the NQP to address those gaps. Because at the continental level, we don't have a physical quality infrastructure system, so we don't have in the AQP any assessment of the quality infrastructure system. Because the AQP, the objective is not to manage and sustain a continental level QI system. This continental QI system doesn't exist. The continental QI system will be the combination of the national quality infrastructure systems and any REC level quality infrastructure that we have. The guidelines, however, do list the aspect that need to be covered in the NQP regarding the following aspect. I mean, although NQP doesn't have an element for assessing the current quality infrastructure, in the guidelines, we have written how the assessment has to be made in the NQP alignment or development of a new NQP. So I think the guidelines is going to be very, very useful to member states in going ahead, either formulating the NQPs, revising the NQPs, or aligning the NQPs with the HQP. This is from the online survey that we did. We asked countries what, in their opinion, would be the advantages, if any, of aligning NQPs with the NQP, and most of the responses that we have is positive, and it lists the elements that they see which is useful. For example, the alignment allows all parties to focus on a coherent set of quality objectives for the continent. The AQP acts as a reference policy document providing guidance to member states. So everybody agrees that alignment is a good thing. And we also asked the question, how much effort would it take, in opinion of the respondents, to align any REC quality policy relevant to their region with the AQP? And here, there are not enough responses to make an opinion of it. But 3 countries, for example, told that it will take considerable effort to align REC QPs with the AQP. 2 countries said there are some effort needed, and 1 country said there is only no effort needed to align the REC QP with the AQP. So this is something that still is in the pipeline when implementing the AQP and getting the RECs and so on together and looking in the same direction. These are things that will need to be considered. So thank you very much. I hope I haven't been, 3 presentations were a bit long, but I hope I touch on the points that are of interest to you. So I'll be glad to take questions, and I'll stop the share now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bia, for all the presentations. Actually, we have questions which have been asked when you were talking, and I think you have been responding to them. But anyway, let us go through them because we still have some more time. Then you explain again. Now we have a question. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Yeah, the one is in the QI environment, especially in the legislative context. What is the difference between monitoring quality control and performing quality assurance? That is
I didn't get the last one. You said
that
monitoring
is monitoring quality control and performance quality assurance. This is, I think, the QMS issues.
Well, I'll try.
The QI, yeah, sure.
Yes.
Go on.
I think in the AQP you will see that we have mentioned performance indicators, and I think NQP should follow suit as well, REC quality policies as well, to have performance indicators and they should have, as I said, a central entity. All countries preferably would be good for them to have a central entity looking at all quality infrastructure matters and monitoring the NQP with clear performance indicators to see whether there is progress or not. I think this is the best way to go. I mean, there's nothing more I can say about that. But the way the indicators have to be formulated is very, very important. You don't create indicators that are too complicated to measure and things and so on. So you have to make a balance between indicators that you can easily collect, but that will be useful enough to give you real indication of how progress is being achieved. So this is something that is relevant for each country to do.
Okay. Now, the other question is, when reviewing the AQP, will the results of the review be shared with member states to enable timely realignment? Yeah.
Yes, I think the principle of inclusiveness is included in the AQP, and member states and RECs are going to be on the consultation for revision of the AQP, for the action plan, for the implementation plan. That everything is being carried out under the AQP because it concerns because the ultimate beneficiary is the continent, the countries, and the countries and the continent, of course. So they will have to be consulted. So I think this is something that will be carried out necessarily. Yes, thank you,
So
Nadine.
have you heard the other
No,
question?
the last one I did.
Yeah,
Hear,
sorry. The other question, sorry, I was muted. Does the AQP provide a peer review mechanism to enable a move toward harmonization and ultimate alignment?
Very, very good question.
Who called me?
There is nothing mentioned as a kind of a peer review, but I guess if at some point in time, because we are at the beginning of the road, as I said, if, for example, we proceed with the steps of alignment and all countries do the alignment and so on, and if we wanted to measure to what extent countries and QPs are aligned, and aligned doesn't mean only that they have incorporated the AQP policies in the NQPs. Align means progress means to what extent those policies that they have included from the AQP are being implemented. So it's one question of measuring, yes, the NQP has all that the AQP policies have, whatever is relevant to the NQP has incorporated 100% of the policies. This is one measure, but this is not the measure that is important. The measure that is more important is to what extent the policies that have been included in the NQP are being implemented. So this needs another set of indicators. And I guess when this type of information and data is being sought by the AQP Council during implementation, after 1 or 2 years of implementation, I guess a peer review mechanism would be very, very useful indeed. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The other one is now in French. We have two in French. Comment aider les pays dont l'infrastructure qualité est en jaune, c'est-à-dire limitée? Donc, il revient à l'inventaire OTC de la PAC.
Yes, Nadine, I lost the voice at some point in time, but
yeah,
excusez-moi, je vais répondre.
Okay.
Oui,
okay.
allez compléter.
Vous pouvez répondre. Donc, il demande comment aider les pays dont l'infrastructure qualité est en jaune ou bien en rouge, oui, avec une infrastructure qualité déjà limitée. Comment l'aider?
Je crois que voilà, l'idée c'est vraiment d'encourager tous les États membres, maintenant qu'on a la politique qualité africaine, de regarder, de réviser la politique nationale qualité, de voir où sont les manquements, et puis inclure dans la politique nationale qualité les initiatives, les projets, les actions qui doivent être entreprises afin de couvrir ces manquements. Donc, si vous voulez, la politique nationale qualité devient un projet sous lequel il y aurait plusieurs actions à entreprendre. Et une fois que les pays auront identifié où sont les manquements, Ils peuvent le faire eux-mêmes. Ils peuvent le faire à travers d'agences d'aide comme le NUDI, Chambre de commerce international, PTB. Je ne peux pas répondre pour PTB, mais Martine est là et mes collègues du PTB pourraient répondre à ça aussi. Donc, il pourrait y avoir des ressources financières pour aider les pays individuellement à identifier leurs manquements, leurs faiblesses et à prendre des mesures pour les combler. Donc, je crois que chaque pays doit faire cet exercice tout seul. S'ils ont besoin d'aide, donc, comme je dis, ils peuvent approcher les agences techniques comme le NUDI et autres. Donc, OK, donc ça, c'est la réponse, je crois.
Ouais. Je pense que c'est déjà assez pour cette question. La deuxième question en français, c'est comment réussir une cohabitation acceptable entre la politique nationale qualité et la politique universelle africaine qualité. Donc, c'est presque la même question, mais
Oui.
c'est deux personnes différentes.
Oui. Comme j'avais souligné, je crois qu'on avait une question un peu en anglais tout à l'heure, un peu dans la même chose. Il n'y a pas d'incompatibilité entre les politiques nationales qualité et la politique africaine qualité. La politique africaine qualité, la politique qualité de l'Afrique n'impose pas quoi que ce soit. Les pays sont souverains de gérer l'infrastructure qualité comme ils le veulent. Mais tout simplement, nous, le message que la politique qualité Afrique dit, c'est-à-dire que nous sommes tous sur la même longueur d'onde, on doit tous, disons, comment dirais-je, obéir aux exigences internationales. On a le même chemin à faire, allons le faire ensemble. On a une politique qualité de l'Afrique, vous avez la politique nationale qualité, les deux devraient être compatibles. Allons travailler ensemble. Si vous avez besoin d'aide, on vous aide. S'il y a quelque chose que vous ne pouvez pas faire au niveau national, par exemple, la création d'un organisme d'accréditation, ben, le REC va pouvoir le faire pour vous. Donc, si vous voulez, il n'y a pas d'incompatibilité. Les deux doivent aller ensemble. Il faut que les politiques nationales qualité, les politiques des régions et la politique de qualité de l'Afrique marchent main dans la main ensemble, comme un système. Sinon, ça ne marchera pas.
Okay, thank you. And now we have another question in English. It is a very well understood principle that standards are by default voluntary, but when referenced in regulations, they become mandatory. However, in terms of structural setup and orientation of entities at national and REC level, we find that standard bodies play a dual role as the standard setter and the regulator, which present a significant conflict of interests, which stunts the growth of conformity assessment services and makes accreditation body unstable or play second fiddle. Can AUC be more clear on guidance on what are the boundaries for standard bodies business? That's a question.
Yes, I think we all agree when I mentioned a bit earlier that there are setups in the quality infrastructure system which are not according to international best practice. This is one of the examples that we can see, and some countries have already realized that, you know, having the NSB wear the regulator hat and the standards maker hat is incompatible. And some countries have moved away from it. If I may just quote, South Africa has moved away from that system. Zambia has moved away from that system. A couple of other countries are thinking of doing so. It is clearly a problem. But again, I mean, at the AUC level, this is not the kind of thing that we would impose on member states. As I said, member states are sovereign. They decide how they do it. But what AUC can say, well, these are the international best practices. This practice is not the best practice. It's up to the member states to really take cognizance of this state of affairs and then take action on it. I think there is nothing further I can say from my side on this. This could become a political issue as well. But again, clearly, if something is incompatible with international best practices, the best person to realize it and do something about it is the country itself.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. You're muted, Nadine.
Sorry. Yeah, I have a cough. Sorry. So I have the last question.
Yes.
If alignment of the QPs are not necessary, what content are required in the course of harmonization for Africa? I don't know if it is understandable because it's a question, maybe there is something maybe which is not clear, but he's asking if we don't have to align in what are the requirement. Sorry. So if the alignment of the quality policies is not necessary, what contents are required in the course of harmonization for Africa? But I think this is a situation contrary of what you are talking about. Okay, kindly.
Yeah, I'll try to respond to that, Nadine. I think it's a very important question. At this stage, if you wish, we have the AQP, wide consensus among all African countries, EREX and so on. Everybody was involved. It is in line with international requirements and best practices and so on. Anything that the countries do below that level, I mean, if they do anything that is a deviation below that level, would probably give an NQP that doesn't have all the elements for the quality infrastructure system in the country to be operated effectively. So I would say that probably the AQP and the guidelines that we have prepared for alignment would be the best bet for countries to have as a national policy that would ensure that the national quality infrastructure system works effectively. Anything less, they might have a problem, but we can't really say that. So even if they are not aligning, what I said earlier is that it's not necessary for them, NQPs, to align the structure, the way the document is drafted, with the AQP structure. But alignment of the AQP policies is probably necessary for countries because the AQP policies are the best practices, and countries should align the policies with the AQP policies. I don't know whether I've been clear enough, but
yeah, I think it is also well that an alignment is needed. If the NQP is aligned, that is well, but if it is not, if there are gaps, I think they should be dealt with. Sorry, there is a last question. From the composition of the AQP Council, we don't see representatives or representation from national level. Why is this so?
Yeah, this is something that's not there. But again, when you're looking at the council, kind of a governance level entity, it's difficult to. I'm not sure totally of the reason why member states were not there, but I think for the efficiency of a governance level, member states would have been kind of probably complicated to see how many member states, which member states at the regional level, language level, or so on. How would they be represented in the council? The council at the governance level, as it is expected that the technical institutions, the PACI institutions, or the REC representatives could bring the input to the level of the council. But in any case, the combination of the governance at the level of the AQP Council operates necessarily with consultation with the member states. Anything, the action plan, the implementation plan, the AQP, anything that governance level does at the level of the African Union Commission, these things go to the member states for consultation. So to a certain extent, although member states don't sit on the AQP Council, but everything that AQP Council does, member states have the opportunity to look at it and give their opinions. They are consulted. So if you wish, it's for the effectiveness of the system. I think that's probably how the way it was planned.
Yeah, thank you for the response. We have got another question. No? I think we can have this and mine. I have also a question, but this one is for countries that have not yet a national quality policy. How do we go about adopting a policy that aligns with the AQP? I think you have talked about this, but maybe a summary of what you say.
Yes, I mean, for countries that don't have a national quality policy, please just take the guideline, the PACI guideline that we have prepared for the alignment of NQPs with the AQP. And if you go along those guidelines, you will be able to have a quality policy that covers all the aspects that are aligned with the AQP. So I think the guidelines are good for preparing national quality policies, new national quality policies for the first time as well.
Yeah, I think we will also share the links or document for the guide. They have been asking in the chat. So now my question is that in your presentation, first presentation, you mentioned that there is no physical quality infrastructure system at continental level. Why? And do you think it is possible to have a physical QI system at continental level?
It depends on where the needs are. I think if you look at standardization, for example, there is also, for example, doing standardization, but also itself is not. You could consider it as a standardization body, because it's constituted of standardization bodies from various countries and so on. If you wanted to have a QI at the continental level, it means that you have an AU standardization body, an AU structure for accreditation that would look at how accreditation works on the continent, and you provide resources to it and so on. That is, instead of creating a SADCAS for SADC, you would have an African accreditation body or something like this. So it is these things are not needed at a continental level because they already exist at national level. And if at national level these things cannot be done, like in accreditation, they are done at the regional level, like SADCAS or SOAC. So there are few issues that cannot be done at the NQP level and cannot be done at REC level. Then, of course, there would be a need perhaps to do something at the continental level. But I can't think of anything that cannot be done at national or REC level. So I think from that point of view, there is no need to have structures at continental level that will be complicated to put in place, that would be difficult to run and so on, if there is no need for that. That would be my short answer to that.
Yeah, it will be complicated and not feasible, since some of them are just are being held by national and which are member states of the African Union. So it will be like a conflict. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have not seen any question, but now there are questions that I would like to know if we still have Rebecca with us. There are two questions that were addressed to Rebecca. I'm not sure if she's around. If she's not around, is there anyone from the UNIDO? Okay, if not, the question will be responded to through email, because I say that all the questions, everyone we have your email address, and the person who had sent that question, we know him, it's Edward, and I think we will respond to you through email. We have taken note of your question regarding the QI, the Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development tool. So this one we will respond to through email. Thank you very much. Mr. Budo, I thank you very much for your time, for your research, for everything that you have gathered. I am now seeing a hand. We have not allowed the hands because of time. We are more than 200 of us, so not everyone can. We cannot have all of us to speak. Otherwise, we will spend a week here. So, Mr. Hissen, s'il vous plaît, vous pouvez donc taper, vous pouvez nous envoyer un message à partir du chat. Donc, on va le recevoir. Donc, on est toujours ici, Mr. Budo, on our program. We have just concluded on the presentations, but now we want to hear what we can take home. What is your message? What is your takeaway message for us to go home with? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think we had very, very interesting questions. I think things, for example, the peer review kind of questions, which I didn't myself had thought about it before. So I think the consensus that we built around the AQP with all the members involved in its development, now it's our kind of a baby. It's a foundational document on which we all agreed. I think there is a very, very good energy. We have seen it at the AQP Council level as well with the members. I think there is a very good energy to take this now forward. As I said, we are at the beginning of the road. It's now that we start putting all the pieces of puzzles together and make it and run with it. So I think it's very, very important, and the momentum that it is gathering is quite good to see. I have had so many participants to this seminar. So I think this is something that is very, very positive. So please, I would ask that member states have to be fully engaged. I mentioned a bit earlier our disappointment when we circulated the online survey that very few countries responded to that, although we made the questions very, very easy for people just to fill in, no need to write anything. I mean, it's a kind of a two-way traffic. The AQP builds upon the NQPs and the REC-QPs, and the NQPs and REC-QPs also adopt what is in the AQP. So it's a two-way traffic, and everybody has to be conscious that we all have to put our hands together and work for that. It's a very, very good start that we have had looking at these issues of quality infrastructure and national inequality policy from the continental point of view. Not many continents or groups of countries have this kind of approach. So we have done some good work. Now we have to take it through. So this is my encouragement to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Budo. So we haven't concluded. The members don't leave. We have just some announcements to give to you. But thank you very much, Mr. Budo, for giving us a way forward that mobilizing or sensitizing member states to commit themselves. And also, this is not a one-way traffic, it's a two-way traffic where RECs and NQPs should also be aligned. Thank you very much. And we really thank the participants who have motivated you in your presentation because of the questions that are very relevant to this. Thank you very much for your active participation. Now, this moment, we are going to hear just a few words from Dr. Rora Bukozam. Rora, are you still around?
Yes.
Rora is the coordinator, the expert lead expert for the project running. Those she will just introduce herself and tell us more on the upcoming activities. Thank you. Rora, over to you.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you so much for all the efforts you have done so far, and many thanks for Mr. Birbidou. Honestly, I was like so pleased to listen very carefully to what you have been explaining. Very comprehensive, very rich for information, and the amazing thing, honestly talking, that the people, they are so motivated to go forward and to implement whatever they have learned from you. And even I'm seeing in the chat that somebody, they are needing some assistance, and so that's why we are here. So thank you so much, and I'm sure that we will get another chance to have you also maybe for another seminars or in other events within the ACP QI program. So just like to preview, dear participant, about what we are doing here within this project. Mr. Bernard Beau has already make like a briefing of activities. So we are tackling QI component in general. So whenever we have the possibility to make a capacity buildings for laboratories, for inspection body, for standardization body, so all of them are under our scope. But of course, unfortunately, we cannot cover all of those entities inside the 55 African member states. That's why we have sometimes to go for criteria for selection some beneficiary. And of course, those criteria, they are very impartial, very transparent. So we are able, and we will be pleased to discuss any of them with you. Now, just to continue within the topic of the African equality policy. So after this very richful information from Mr. Birbidou, and also the explanations that you need for you as a member state to have your own national equality policy to be aligned with the AQP terms. So that's why we will continue our work with member state, and we will be training 15 national experts from African countries to give them the tools, to give them the techniques to be adopted once they will be working with their national equality policy on the alignment process. Here, in that way, we will be having like a transformation and knowledge transfer from an international expert to lead others in going that way. In addition, after this training course or trainers, so we will be having direct support for member state, but also we are limited for the time, for the number of countries which we can support it. Maybe we can consider it as a pilot for us, and we will be covering only for member state. in the aligning. So that would be like our next steps for this type of work, and then we will continue all together to be like disseminating any news regarding this project. Thank you, Nadine, for you.
Thank you very, very much, Rora, for bringing in the good activities that are now in the benefit of member states. So thank you. I think we can close our session. So we have had really good interventions from the participants. Sorry, the turnover was really good, and what we promised, we will do it. We will share with you the presentations. And Rora, here there is a question. We've got a good number of French-speaking participants, and they wish to have presentation translated in French, at least. Will we be able to translate the presentations? And if yes, that will be very much appreciated. And I think it will take some more time because the other ones will be shared just immediately, but the others translated, this is not something that is immediate. So the person who has raised the hand, we could not give you the floor. So we requested that you type in the chat so that we can read the question. So I think I can take the opportunity to, on behalf of the ERSO Secretary General who opened this meeting, this seminar, to thank everyone, member states, representatives, international organizations, representatives, African Union representatives, the Africa Quality Policy members who were here with us. I saw a good number of them. And this was a pleasure for us to host you. And any other issue, please send us an email. And I think so many of you know our email address because you have received this communication through email. So thank you very much once again, and have good times. And also I wish you to apply and go back home and request that the your national quality policy be aligned. So we are here for you. Don't hesitate to contact us in any time. Thank you very much. So for us, we would wish to open our camera if possible to take some pictures as a souvenir and record. Is it possible for everyone to put on a camera? I think, Dan, are you around to help us to take, because we have a number of pages because of the number of delegates. Dan, can you assist us in taking the pictures? Let me try. Okay, don't
move.
Just bear with me. I'm taking them. Okay, next page. Okay. We have like 7 pages of them, and I have to take them all. Okay. Okay, I'm on the 4th. I'm sorry, I'm so slow in taking the pictures.
Thank you for your participation. Nadine, back to you.
Okay, there are others who have not opened their, like page 6. Everyone is is not having any camera on. So I think we are good to go. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.